Yes.
I always put my cards in my pocket of my pants.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's wild, huh?
Yeah. But you find a common interest with people, and so then they connect
Sure.
an interest with you.
Right.
Okay, so we should teach a class on unique prospecting methods or fun prospecting methods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's that balance too, probably. Sounds like we both need that.
Right.
So as you look at this page, and there's a lot on here that we're not going to take time to get into today. This is a page, by the way, that we explore in much greater depth in some other classes. But just that little discussion right there of the $13 productive activities, and any insights or ahas from that? As you look at that and compare that to your business now, you're like,
Yeah, the closing's obvious, but the next one, transaction, that's what I'm good at. I'm good at that. And the other stuff is really what I'm kind of done with, and I want to focus on that box, the second box down.
yeah, okay, you want to focus on this. So does this work have to be done?
I mean, I like the listings because I like doing the research and seeing what things sell for and meeting with someone, and I feel like if I go out there that I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
You know, if
You're
I
gonna
send,
connect with
I'm
them.
gonna connect them and they're gonna get it and we can relate. If I send someone else, I don't know.
Yeah.
But at that point, after that, I would like to delegate it to,
Yes.
hey, call, CC me, talk to my buyer's agent or listing agent or whatever it is.
Yeah.
We can all communicate together and, and they can bounce ideas off me, of course. But I
Yeah.
want to focus on getting more deals, I
Yeah.
guess you could say, with less of the lower end work, the tedious stuff,
Yeah.
the paperwork.
Yeah.
So you want to be a tier 3 or tier 4 agent. Basically, you're going to be the team leader of your team and the listing specialist.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm hearing?
I really like going and seeing them. That's what's fun for me. That's my number one thing that I like to do. The listing appointments, I don't necessarily love, but I understand that it's part of it.
It is part of the
It's a
process.
big part of it.
It's a vital part of getting the listing.
Right, and being able to communicate with them what the value really is.
Yes.
That's probably the hardest part.
Yeah, the pricing discussion.
Well, and I think a lot, like I have a control, I admit I'm a control addict. I have to find someone, I don't really want anyone communicating with my client with me.
Yes.
And so that I had an assistant last year.
Yes.
That I was, very short-lived, and I didn't want her communicating with my client.
Right.
Because she was very short.
Yes.
I didn't like her demeanor. And
Yes.
I'm very sweet and, southern.
Yes.
Charm with my clients, real sweet, and they feel comfortable with me. And I had to let her go because her interaction, even just with me, I thought,
Right.
that wasn't said well. So I don't want to let anyone have
Yeah.
I don't want them to have any communication with my
You said two things right there that you are equating as the same thing, but they're not the same thing. First of all, you said, I don't want anybody else communicating with my clients. And then you said, I don't want her communicating with my clients.
Because I'm at a point, I need someone else to be communicating.
Right,
with my
right.
client.
Because one of those statements is valid and the other is not. It may be completely valid that you don't want her communicating with your clients. But to believe that you are the only one who can communicate effectively is a limited belief.
Yeah, I have to let that go.
You
And
do
it's
have to let
I
that go.
can't do it anymore.
Right.
I'm done, and I'm also at the point where I'm like, I don't want to call that client. I'm tired of talking about stupid stuff with that client.
Yes.
We've gotten over it. I need someone that I know is going to be really sweet and hold their hand and make
Right.
it feel really good, but maybe talk about, hey, I'm going to come and the inspection's going to be Friday at 9 a.m.
Right.
And have, for the little old lady who doesn't text.
Yes.
It's just, I don't think.
Okay, so to move from that bad experience to the good experience that you want to have is going to require two things of you. First of all, you're going to have to hire the right person.
Right.
Okay?
Exactly.
Right. And there's a process that will virtually guarantee you hire the right person. Okay?
I have right now yet.
Okay.
I would.
Virtually guarantee, so that you're not thinking, in other words, employing a wish, wait, and hope strategy. No, but you are confident. You have a confident expectation that this is the right person. Okay? So there's, and by the way, that process is next week. We're going to get into the hiring process next week. Okay? The second thing, though, it's going to require of you, not just hiring the right person, but you're going to have to become a master micro developer. Okay? You are going to have to spend time with that person. And you're going to have to coach them through a very deliberate process so that they can perform these duties exactly as you want them performed, to your level of competence. Okay? We hear a lot about working smarter, right? And working smarter is the goal. But you know what is between here and working smarter? Working longer and working harder. It is and when you start developing other people, that's hard work. Okay? In fact, there's an emotional commitment that's required at each of these phases. Initially in phase 1, it's commitment, right? I just have to be, I've committed to this until I develop some confidence. In phase 2, it's endurance, because it's really hard to track my numbers and investigate new lead sources and really track my own activities on a daily basis to make sure that I'm being vital. That requires endurance. But the emotional commitment that's required in phase 3 when we're developing other people is patience, right? Because initially they're at phase 1. We're at phase 2 with that activity. They're at phase 1. And getting them to phase 2, mastery level of how to have that conversation, how to massage that situation, that's going to take a lot of patience on our part, a lot of hard work. But if we're committed to it, we will have somebody when we're done who owns that position. Just like an entrepreneur owns a business and they take full responsibility for it, they will take full responsibility for that position. They will be as good as you are when they take it over. They'll be better than you after that. Okay, that's where we're headed. Okay, so eliminating peak and valley results. We kind of touched on this very briefly, but here's a little diagram I want to point out to your attention. The vital activities are what's described in this box, the things that have to be done, but you don't necessarily have to do them. Somebody has to do them. That's the definition of vital. But if you focus on just 15% of what must be done, and by the way, that 15% are these $13 productive activities, you can delegate the other 85%. All the administrative and marketing duties in your business that must be done can be done by other people. And if you'll focus on building a team to do that, Feynman, you'll be able to limit your career hours. Spend more time on the boat. Do the natural networking, knowing that your business is being taken care of. But it's a process, and it'll be a heavy commitment on the front end. Okay? I said we were going to blow up those employment options that are available. When we looked at the life-work balance diagram, most of us consider ourselves and our relationships to be our life, but oh, by the way, we have to fund that with our career. This little diagram walks you through the career options you have for funding your life, and this is right out of Robert Kiyosaki's Cash Flow Quadrant book. Any of y'all read that yet? Oh my goodness, it's a perspective-changing book, and this is just one little quick example.
What's it called?
It's called the Cash Flow Quadrant. That's the name of the book, and this is actually the Cash Flow Quadrant that's on this page that we're looking at right now. And what it describes is the 4 options that you have for funding your life. Most of us, Kim, what was the first job you ever had?
Like ever in my whole life?
Ever.
Or after college?
Ever in your whole life?
McDonald's.
Okay. And
High school.
okay. And did they hire you at a certain rate of pay? Mm-hmm. And you worked a certain number of hours?
Right.
Okay. So you got a W-2 at the end of the year?
Yeah, I made like $250 that year. It was so good.
Okay. You had to file your own tax return. What was your first job, Feynman?
First job, really, I was mowing grass.
Okay.
People.
Okay. Okay.
But, I mean, the first, like, employee,
Yeah.
I guess, was I delivered pizza.
Okay. Okay.
Same kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I was bussing tables at a Mexican restaurant. Okay. What all these things have in common is we were employees. Okay. We traded time for money. Low cash was provided in these first jobs, right? And high time was required. Okay. We had to work a lot of money. We still didn't get paid much. Okay. Now, a lot of people spend their entire career. Most people spend their entire career right here as an employee. And some of them will make more money as they progress through the ranks if they get high education. But all of them, even if the cash improves, the time will not. In fact, sometimes as the cash grows, the hours required. Oh, we're going to make you a manager. No, thank you. So now it's not 40 hours a week, it's 70, right?
That's when I got fired as an accountant.
Yeah.
They asked me if I wanted to be promoted. I told them no.
Yeah. I've seen what your promotions do to people.
Like,
Yes.
so how much a year I get paid? How much more do I get paid? Oh, you get paid about $15,000 more.
Right.
Per year?
Yeah.
Per year. How much more do I need to work? How about 20, 30 more hours a week?
Right.
No.
Right. No, thank you. So that's what drives a lot of us who are kind of entrepreneurially minded into the self-employed quadrant. This is where real estate agents are, right? Nobody's paying us an hourly wage. There are no guarantees, okay? But we are compensated based upon the value that we provide. Your lawn mowing business was very much in this quadrant right here, okay? Now, high cash can be produced. We can make a lot of money, but the time factor is still there. I mean, look at self-employed CPAs, self-employed doctors, right? Self-employed real estate agents. Some of them make a whole lot of money, but spend a whole lot of time doing it. And so there is a path, should you choose to move to the right side of the quadrant, where you go from being merely self-employed, where it's your individual efforts producing the income, to becoming a business owner. Now, a lot of real estate agents will tell you, I am the CEO of my own business. And that's true in the sense that they're in control of their activities. But when Kiyosaki describes a business, he has a very specific definition that we use in this class. A business owner is somebody who can walk away from their business for an entire year, come back, and find the business operating at a higher level than when they left. Okay, based upon that definition, do you own a business or do you own a job? Most of us own a job because our personal efforts are still required. We still have to show up, even if we have other people working with us or working for us, okay? So Kiyosaki would say there is a path, and we would affirm in the real estate industry, there is a path to building an abundant sales business where you can be a business owner, where you can take that boat out for a year. Now, we will say don't completely disassociate from the business, because you want to circle back to hold your team leader accountable to clearly established performance standards. And we're going to suggest you do that on a weekly basis, but hey, it can be done on a phone call from the deck of the boat. Okay? Absolutely. With technology the way it is. High cash provided, low time required. That's what we want, isn't it? Right there. There is a fourth quadrant, by the way, and that's as an investor, and that's where your business is kicking off enough cash that you can now invest in passive instruments, you know, stocks, bonds, gold, rental properties, whatever. And here you finally have high cash required in no time. Because you even have people managing your investments, okay? But either side of this, the right side of the quadrant, as business owner or investor, you can generate passive income and have an abundant life. Plenty of money, plenty of time, okay? The cool thing is, in real estate, we have the option really to make money in all these quadrants, okay? We can actually trade time for money. We can do BPOs. We can do that kind of stuff if we want to. We can be self-employed, which is typical agent on my own, listing and selling houses. We can start to build a team or build a completely leveraged team if we want to and be a true Kiyosaki business owner. And oh, by the way, because we have a keen knowledge of market values and often advanced knowledge of properties coming on the market because of the relationships we built, we can become a very savvy investor. And we don't have to give up the other quadrants to move into one. As we are self-employed, we can start to build our business. We can hire the 10-hour-a-week administrative assistant as the first stage. If our business is kicking off enough cash at this point, we can start buying investment real estate, and we can continue to draw income from all quadrants at the same time. Very unique position that we're in real estate sales. So if you chose this deliberately, congratulations on your foresight and intelligence. And if you stumbled into real estate, congratulations. Well, they say better lucky than good. So congratulations, you're here. All right. Getting wealthy involves really a perspective change at 3 different levels. Wealthy, plenty of money, plenty of time. You have to think differently. You can't think typically. typical agent thinks, how can I take care of more people to make more money? A unique salesperson or entrepreneur thinks like, how can I find and attract talented people into a working relationship with me so that our team can service people at a higher level? So the difference in your thinking here is you have to begin thinking like an entrepreneur, not just like an individual. Yes, sir.
My thoughts on that, I was thinking about it earlier, is I really don't want to train anyone.
Yes.
But getting someone at the 6-month or the 1 year
Uh-huh.
would be ideal because they would already have the basics. That's what I don't want to talk about, the basics.
Yeah, you don't want to talk about how to fill out a contract or put a listing in the MLS.
Them to already have
Right.
that behind them and how to write the offer and what's, zip form. I don't want to go through all that.
Yeah.
But, getting them at 6 months or a year, somewhere
Mhm.
around in there would be attractive. The problem is how do you recruit those people
Yes.
without pissing off all of the neighboring brokers, and creating.
Well, we're very fortunate that slavery was abolished in this country in 1865. That was settled forever, right? So now, free human beings have the ability to associate with whoever they want to. And I don't think we should ever cling to people. In fact, what we should, if we want to attract people to a working relationship with us, what we have to do is provide a scenario that satisfies their aspirations. And if we're providing that and somebody else isn't, there's no guilt on that, right? And if somebody gives us a hard time about that, you hired my agent, you took my buyer's agent, I think the very simple response is, your past employee or your past agent was acting in what they felt to be their best interests. And if you really care about them, then you need to applaud them for that. Because, oh, by the way, that's what you're doing. You're acting in what you believe to be your best interest in trying to tie them into a relationship with you, but they didn't see the relationship the same way. They didn't see that their aspirations and their needs were being met in the context of that relationship. So that is, by the way, the key to building long-term relationships on your team, is to assure that it's not just your aspirations that are being met in that relationship, but oh, by the way, their aspirations are also. And there are plenty of people out there whose aspirations are met in an administrative role, or in a marketing role, or in a buyer agent role. They're not lead generators, right? They just love people, they love houses. There are lots of agents out there like that who will gladly give you 50% of their commission if you have lead generation systems, qualification systems that just tee up qualified prospects for them. Okay? So you just have to hire the right people. And as you said, you can find people who've mastered the basics or the mechanics of the real estate sales game, and now all you have to do is develop them into your systems, into your way of dealing with clients, your way of managing the relationship. So it does take a lot of that off the table. Okay? So you have to think differently, you have to think like an entrepreneur, and the way an entrepreneur thinks, what's distinctive about their thought process, is they see value in systems. Okay? It's not just, it can't just be in your head. Because Feynman, you know how to work with people. You know how to attract people. People, they meet you, they hang out, they want to work with you, right? Okay. But is that a duplicable process? Okay. Can you find 6 little Feynmans out there to be your buyer's agents, right? Probably not. Okay. You can't duplicate your personality, but what you can duplicate is your systems. If you have a certain way of working with people, of responding to people, and that could be timelines, it could be here's our message at this point in the process, here's what we do, here's our outreach strategy. And a system is simply a documented list of steps. It's a written habit. This is how I do it. It's not just in my head now it's on paper. You can train people to that process. And what you'll find is people with vastly different personalities can all be highly effective in this business if they're following a proven system. So you have to start, and we're going to get more into detail here, you have to have systems in your business. You have to know how you handle things, and so that you can do the same thing the same way each time, so that you can duplicate your own results. I'm sorry, I thought I'd turned that off already. Let me turn that down. Okay. Once you have a system, you can duplicate your results personally, but then, now you can delegate them also. Now you can be assured that the people that you hire in any role are going to do it exactly the same way that you do it. Okay? This is part of the hard work, is building these systems, documenting our procedures, knowing what our vital activities are. So we think differently. We think differently to see value in systems and build systems, and then we hire people, this is a critical step, to run the systems. It's not people who run our business, contrary to popular opinion. If you're going to have an abundant business, a highly effective, efficient business, that business is run by systems, and people run the systems. And if that's the case, first of all, you're going to be a long way towards having long-term relationships, because people know what's expected of them, and you have developed them into doing that responsibility. But should they ever leave, and life does intervene, right? People do leave for various reasons. Spouse gets a transfer, their needs change, and they're no longer satisfied in the relationship. Then it's simply a matter of finding a person who can run that system at a highly efficient level, okay? And that's much easier than just going out and trying to find the person with the magic personality, okay? Find the person who can run the system. So when you think differently, to value systems, you build those systems, you hire and develop the right people to run those systems, that's when leverage shows up. Okay, that's the whole process right there.
So when you say systems, do you mean like action plans?
Yes.
You get a listing,
Yes.
what you do, MLS,
Yes.
time, key box, we have a survey, that kind of
That's exactly what I mean.
Okay.
A system is really just a procedures checklist
Yeah.
in order. That's all it is. It's a written habit. It's what you do naturally now that you have developed some habits in your business. It's putting that on paper in a sequential order that you can train somebody to.
I have that, and I put it on the front of every file so I can check it off.
Yes.
Like when I have 20 files going, I can keep
Yes.
what I've done.
So you are already thinking like an entrepreneur. You see value in systems. You've already started to build your systems. And so now you're ready to take that third step and hire the right people to run those systems. Okay? People who can follow a checklist. Okay? That's when leverage shows up. Okay, so quick review. And you don't really have to raise your right hand and repeat after me, but you do really need to internalize these beliefs if you're going to embrace the leverage strategy. 1, I must make the most effective and efficient use of my time. Why? Somebody tell me why. Because your time is limited. It's the only limitation we have. We can't get more of it. Okay? 2, I must operate at my highest and best use at all times. Why? Anything less than that is waste and inefficiency in my business. I'm not being completely vital. I'm not maximizing my productivity. Thus, I'm not funding my life at the levels I require, or I'm having to devote more hours to my career than I want and take that away from my personal life. Okay? 3, I must eliminate peak and valley results. Right? I must, if I'm going to have consistency and predictability in my income, and oh, by the way, a lot lower stress level in my business. Okay? I must build a business that funds an abundant life. Right? Because when I have abundant funds, I have abundant options. Right? I can do all kinds of cool things with my family, with my friends, with causes that are important to me. I had an agent tell me earlier this week, we were talking about aspirations. She said, I want to give $1 million to my church. $1 million. She's just starting her career. Okay? By the way, I didn't bat an eye at that. Is it possible that a real estate sales career could fund an aspiration like that? It has many times over. It has. So yeah, absolutely. 5, I must be fully leveraged to create the wealth I deserve. Fully leveraged. I have people running the systems that run my business. Okay? To the extent that you internalize that you adopt those as your beliefs, they will drive your behavior. All behavior is an afterthought. If you're engaged in unproductive behavior right now, it's because you have unproductive thoughts and beliefs. Because your behavior is always the window to the soul. It always, over time, and I've said this countless times, if you never said a word to me, but I watched your behavior over the next 30 days, I could tell you more about what you think and believe than what you actually know yourself about what you think and you believe. Because we often deceive even ourselves, right? Well, I believe this. Oh, yeah? Well, if I watch your behavior, I'll know if you do or not. Because behavior is the unerring guide to thoughts and beliefs. So to the extent that you can internalize productive beliefs, you will exhibit productive behavior invariably. Okay, so let's get down to some of the nuts and bolts. I'm on page 13. There are 8 key positions on an abundant sales team. 8. Dollar productive positions are listing specialist and buyer specialist. Those dealing directly with the clients to create sales, get to closing. Then there are 6 administrative positions. Team leader, somebody who's organizing all this activity, holding everyone accountable. A listing coordinator, that's administrative. A closing coordinator, also administrative. A marketing coordinator. An administrative assistant, and a runner. Those are the 8 positions. Okay? So I'm going to ask you a few questions. How many of these 8 positions do you currently hold? If you don't have anyone else on your team, the answer is 8. That's right. You're doing all of them. And if you've hired an administrative assistant who is assuming all the administrative capacities, then congratulations, you're only holding 7 of these positions. But here's the encouraging thing. Both of you are only 8 hires away from being completely leveraged. You can put together a plan to systematically add 8 people onto your team, and you're already one. You're on the way. So now you're 7 hires away from being fully leveraged. Okay? From being on the beach in Fiji because you want to be there. Okay? Not because you're burnt out.
Running away.
Yeah, because you're running away. Okay?
Endangering about it.
Now, just because you hold the position doesn't mean that you're highly effective in it, right? So here's the second question. How many of these positions are being totally neglected on your team? Okay? It might be marketing, lead generation, okay? Or it might be the administrative stuff, okay? Things are a mess. I'm going to say this is true. The majority of agents that I talk to don't even have a database with all their past clients and customers in it. Isn't that shocking? A single database with all the contact information on people who've actually closed a transaction with them. They don't have it. They got some here, some there, some over there, and I think my files are in storage. That's the typical answer I get, okay? What's being neglected? The administrative aspect, okay? And the marketing to those people. So how many do you hold? How many are being totally neglected? And how many are filled by talented people you consistently hold accountable? Okay, so we recognize we're holding most of these positions. So let me ask you this. Are you talent in each of these positions? And here's how we define talent. Somebody who is a superb match for the job description. Are you a superb match as a runner, as an administrative assistant, as a closing coordinator? I suspect, Feynman, based upon what you said, you are a superb match as a listing specialist, perhaps a buyer specialist. Okay? So right now, what I suspect is true is that both of you have people holding these positions who are not talent for the position. Okay? Not operating at their highest and best when they're in that role. And are you consistently held accountable in each of these roles? Okay? Accountability is critical to maintaining effectiveness on your team because as human beings, We are masters of justifying our own distractions. Masters, okay? We all excel at that, right? So to maintain focus on vital activities over time, we must be held accountable on a weekly basis to clearly defined performance standards. And as you build your team, we're going to share with you, we'll get into this next week, the vital performance standards for every one of these positions so that you actually don't have to invent them. I mean, you're a step ahead of the game if you've already started building your systems. We're going to give you some sample systems, some template systems to get started, and then you can customize them for your own use. But it includes in there the vital activities and performance standards of each position that you're going to hold people accountable to, or ultimately your team leader will hold everybody accountable to, and your only role is to hold the team leader accountable, okay, in a once-a-week phone call. If you want to go there, if that's your aspiration, okay? Your answers to the above questions reveal how leveraged you are and whether you own a business or a job, okay? And I think we all acknowledge we own a job right now, but the opportunity that's available to us is to build a business, okay? So, just a little dialogue I'm going to walk you through. An encouragement not to be typical, okay? So don't be typical. The following is an example of how typical salespeople assemble a team. You'll recognize this. You may have said this, okay? I desperately need someone to fill this position because I don't want to do it, okay? I don't want to do the paperwork. I don't want to call the prospects. I don't want to lead generate, okay? Hey, you seem capable. Will you work on the cheap? Right? Great, the job is yours. Oh, I assume you know what to do. Or go to Frank's class, or go to Power Start. They'll tell you what to do, okay? Call me if there's a problem. Hooray, I'm free. I'm telling you, that happens every single day in this business. As I was telling you, Kim, before class, hire somebody, hey, get me organized, right? I don't know what to do, you do it, okay? So now you don't even know what your team members are doing. How can you possibly hold them accountable? You don't even know the performance standards of the job, okay? The 5 biggest mistakes that owners make when adding staff, that business owners make when hiring staff. 1, you hire too soon. You hire too soon in your developmental cycle so that you're just delegating inefficiency. You actually don't know how to be efficient and effective yet. You have to get there first. Get to phase 2 before you go to phase 3. You hire the wrong person because there's no hiring plan or system. Hey, you look good, smell good, sound good, will you work for cheap? Come on in, okay? We don't have a system that we put people through that virtually assures us the right person shows up on the other end, okay? Well, next week is the hiring system, and we're going to go through that in depth to assure that you only hire the right people. But I'm going to warn you right now, before we work smart, we work hard, and it is a grueling process. Okay? It's not hire the first one who shows up who will work cheap. 3, provide little or no staff development. Okay? I hired you. I even showed you how to do it. I'm out of here. Okay? What we're going to say is you have to consult with these people. You have to provide direction for them in their career. You have to train them, show them exactly how to do it, and then you have to hold them accountable on a weekly basis. You have to circle back. There's an old expression that I have seen true over and over in my career. You don't get what you expect, you get what you inspect. If they know that you're going to be looking at certain things on a weekly basis, guess what they're going to be giving their attention to? Those things, and only those things. Abdicate the position immediately after filling, okay? Hired somebody, good, I'm done with that. I am out of here. I'm going to go do the aspect of the business I enjoy, okay? What we're going to coach you is, you still own that position. Even when you hire a marketing coordinator, you still own the position. You're still wearing the hat until that person you've hired has earned the right to take it off your head and put it on theirs. Okay? And that means they can now perform that role at least to your level of ability. You've invested in them, you've developed them until they can do that. Then they own the position. Not until then. And then finally, refuse to create a team environment. I see this every day too. Team leaders hire team members because it's all about me. right? You're going to make my life easier. You're going to make me a lot of money. Forgetting that, oh, by the way, those team members, they're real people too, and they have needs and they have aspirations. So it can't be a me, you're all here to serve me. It's a we environment. We are all going to have our aspirations met because of our relationship with each other. Okay? So those are the 5 big mistakes. Avoid these pitfalls, and you'll be well on your way to reaching your potential and living a life of abundance. Okay? Key point. All right, page 15. When to make a hire. And I get this question all the time. In fact, I read a book last week published by a competing real estate brokerage, and they've actually put a number on this. When should you make a hire? When your GCI hits $150,000 annually. Okay? Then hire. Okay? And I'm going to say, maybe not. Maybe not. We have a different answer to that question, and it's not based upon a GCI number. Here it is. Make a hire only when, 1, you want to see your career and life move to a next level. In other words, your aspirations go beyond what you're currently experiencing. Either your money aspiration or your time aspiration. You want to increase funds or you want to decrease hours in the business. If one of those 2 things happens, that's a clue. It's maybe time to hire. 2, you are as effective, as efficient as you can be in the hours you've allotted to your career. And by the way, you can only know that if you're willing to track your activities, at least for a couple weeks. Be accountable to your time in 15-minute increments for 2 weeks. Take a look back, and it will be a revelation. Okay? Please do that before you hire anybody. And identify where the waste and inefficiency is. Squeeze that out. Get completely vital, or as close to it as you can be. Then, that means you're maximizing.